it's easy to avoid that damage. And they'll go for a Storm Spirit. So this is going to be okay, this is going to be just a safe lane Storm Spirit, I think. Still a core Lina, but Undying as a support most likely, I would think.
Okay. Interesting lane setups from TNC. I'm really curious to see who goes where and how they end up setting it up.
He's playing the Juggernaut. I don't know if that means it's a mid-Juggernaut.
Mid lane Jug. I guess it's okay against the Lina. You get the Blade Fury, so you can kind of juke things a little bit.
Maybe Noji is just more comfortable on the Gyrocopter, and they're putting Teehee on the Juggernaut, but they'll swap up the lane.
Possibly.
I think that's what makes the most sense.
And also no agility carry here on G-Guard. So Storm and Bristle, two heroes that can scale pretty well. It is Ling that picks up the Lina, so she'll be a support this go-around. That means we'll have a core Undying, it seems, unless they do the old switcherino when we get into the game. You never know. We can dream.
The glory days.
Winter's going to be playing the Grand Magus this go-around. So Yamate will take the Storm Spirit. That'll be the mid-hero.
And we'll have an offlane Undying. That makes sense.
Offlane Undying, yeah. The G-Guard way, I think, definitely makes some sense here. Not too surprising the way they choose to do this. Ned will take the Bristle back to the safe lane. It's really TNC that I'm super curious about here and where everyone ends up. They will be aggressive, start as a 5-man squad to the off lane once more. This is how they started the last game. They've got a smoke picked up on the Lesh, but they will hold it for now.
And Teehee, I think this might be. I mean, if you're going mid lane on Juggernaut, this would be the build. The Poor Man's Shield and two Ironwood branches. So we'll see. Well, actually, maybe not. You'd probably want a little bit of regen. I'm done myself. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to assume how this is going to go.
Interesting rotation from TNC though. They start to head to the off lane and then they call an audible and now move into their own jungle. It looks like they'll just kind of scurry into the lane. So Timbersaw will be to the offlane. That's the one thing we do know.
30 seconds to battle.
I think it is the mid-jug. The more I think about it, I think they just want to have that matchup against Lina.
Yeah, and they're actually not going to get it. Well, especially not now that they know there's probably not going to be it. Well, they're probably expecting the Storm to be safe lane, if I had to guess. So we'll see how this works out.
Yeah, this whole thing is
very careful to not extend out too far. I don't think they want to give away who's playing.
Yeah, both sides have very difficult to read lanes in this game. Seems they're pulling out the confusion strats.
Okay, and Teehee does get pulled 2 tangos, so this is definitely going to be the mid Juggernaut.
Well, Juggernaut versus Storm.
Slightly Storm favored.
I feel like Storm should have a pretty good time.
Ever so slightly Storm favored.
Put those remnants down. This is tricky for the Jug, and they won't have a support lingering around in the mid lane. They don't have great defensive supports either. If he gets into a sticky wicket, not going to be able to have like a Dazzle TPing in to back him up or anything like that. So G-Guard feeling a little lag here. May need to do a reconnect or two before this game can get underway.
And G-Guard is changing gears. They honestly, I mean, this just can't be the same type of 5-man lineup that we saw before. They just don't have the heroes for it. I mean, I think they'll be grouping up together and fighting a lot more than you'd expect from this type of lineup, but nothing like we saw in the last game.
Maybe this is just TNC beginning to show us that they have some versatility. They were doing the 5-man strats. It worked well. Now that folks are kind of keen to it, banning out the Bloodseeker. Hopefully they've got a few more strats up their sleeve, as I don't know that they can 5-man their way to the international.
No, most likely not. It's just too risky of a strategy, right? We can see how they beat a team like Signature Trust 2-0 and then lost 0-2 to Mineski. So very high risk, high reward strategy.
Yeah. Also curious what kind of a build the Juggernaut will go for here. One of the great things about solo mid Jug, assuming that he has an okay time, he doesn't get completely bullied out, is he gets a lot of experience. So that means he can get the ultimate very quickly, and it could be a sign that we see that Aghanim's Jug. I don't think it's a very common build these days. Well, I know it's not a very common build these days. No. But with him in the mid lane, we don't see that ever. So that makes me suspicious that he might have some kind of a different build up his sleeve. Only time will tell.
And this is going to be interesting to see this mid lane. I really don't think that T's going to get as much as he wants out of it.
We'll see how the supports rotate. Both sides with the same idea. The 1-1-3 with 3 in the off lane, or pardon me, 3 in the safe lane. A lot of support. So both off laners should struggle a little bit. Undying on the Dire, not going to be able to get much. They should zone him. They should be able to zone him out off the creep wave pretty effectively.
If he ever gets caught out in front of a Fissure and T, already getting very low, he's going to have to go for that point in the healing award to stay around. If he ever gets caught on the wrong side of a Fissure, then he just is probably going to get stunned up, and Gyrocopter moving in with the Rocket Barrage will be able to take him down pretty fast. So he's got to be very careful.
Timbersaw, another hero that needs a fair bit of farm. One of the reasons he's fallen out of favor, he just he needs items.
Yeah.
He can do a lot of damage without items, but he needs the survivability. And reactive armor just... It's a very bursty patch. You often don't take enough little bit of poke damage for that reactive armor to really make a big difference in fights. Lane, it's a little bit different, but you see both offlaners with next to nothing.
I think it might be okay against a bristleback who kind of, exists on having long extended fights, but the Lena just being able to burst you down was not what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Bristleback is good on that front, but especially against an Undying, you get a couple decay stacks, and all of a sudden you're not nearly as tanky as you thought you were.
Right.
Now the Jug, holding on to some skill points, didn't opt to put them in Blade Fury. Now Ben, blocked out by a Fissure. AU on the low ground, hits him with a Lightning. Tombstone flies through, Rocket Barrage. Not doing max damage, but the Split Earth is there, and this should be your first blood. Not much the Undying can do. Drawn by the Earthshaker, and they will get the Tombstone as well for an additional 75 gold. Great start here for TNC.
Yeah, TNC did a good job there.
Mid, Courier Snipe. Back in the lane. Are they going to get the Courier? Ooh, that little guy. They can't upgrade it. It's not 3 minutes yet. Ling successful with the pickoff, but Jug, did he get the items off? Ooh, that was a close call.
I mean, it's still pretty poor, but at least he was able to grab his bottle first.
Yeah, well, that actually makes a big difference. If the Courier dives with the bottle, then can't really control runes. At least now he can secure some runes.
This lane goes from tough to unwinnable.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great for G-Guard to pick off the Courier, but could have been a lot worse for the Juggernaut there.
Yeah, he's actually doing pretty well in CS, 13 to the Storm Spirit 16.
Doing surprisingly well. I guess the Healing Ward enough to give him that sustainability. Smoke gets broken by 7 and AU. Ben on the high ground, scouting it out. Lesh will poke his head up, sees what's going on, takes a decay, and now he'll turn tail and run. Only boots and a GG branch. Rather squishy so far. We'll just back up.
And that makes sense. I do think we've seen Lesh in just about every single game. I think, and we've been seeing a lot more support Lesh than we have core Lesh, and I think that's probably a bit of the reasoning behind his struggles. He's a good first pick because he has that variability in where you put him, but I honestly don't think you want to put him at support as T. He's going to get a lot of damage on the Yamate with the Blade Fury. He's got, the Lesh, great stun there, and T. He's actually going to take down the Storm Spirit.
Wow, good rotation from the Lesh.
We were really, really cynical about how this lane was going to go, but T were able to stay up close and CS and get the kill.
Perfect time for that rotation before the Storm hits 6. Now in the bottom lane, Gyrocopter in some trouble, but might still be able to live here. Zombie's not going to do quite enough damage. He makes it back into the tree line, eats a tango. 7 will TP out. Nicely played by TNC. They don't concede a death for the first G-Guard rotation. That is huge.
Yeah, that's tough for G-Guard there. They wanted to really get a reply kill, but they're not going to be able to get it.
Okay, so this dire side, it's really the Bristleback right now who's doing some good work in the lane, getting a lot of farm, but everyone else struggling just a bit here.
Haster in his bottle from the Storm Spirit as we see Net chasing down Sam H. Getting a little bit of chip damage there. We'll see if Yamate tries to make anything happen with it, but he's kind of shown off that he has it, so
yeah,
won't be able to take him by surprise.
Timbersaw still has 0 last hits, so that is the one weak point for TNC right now. Mid lane, they want to go for Yamate again. This time he's hasted up though. Lightning Storm, not going to slow him down to set up for the stun. Trying to do as much damage to Yamate before he hits level 6, and not sure they'll have another window here. Now there is an Omni Slash available. Jug with that XP edge will be able to jump ahead.
Wow, that's a very fast level 6. That kill on Yamate was huge for them.
Yeah.
I mean, G-Guard just really doesn't want to put their supports to this mid lane at all. I mean, Storm Spirit versus Juggernaut, you shouldn't have to, but it's... TNC is moving in. Leshrac was able to be a big part in that kill onto the Storm Spirit, and they're getting away with this Juggernaut mid with it.
Yeah. So, safe lane Gyro, having some trouble right now as the supports are roaming around to other portions of the map. He did get some good farm early on, has the Aquila out, but can't really handle himself in the lane against these 3 heroes. I feel like he was lucky to survive that last go-around.
They're even stealing camps from him.
And he sees some trickery as afoot, and will just back up straight away. This is coming at a pretty big cost, though. You've got this roaming duo for G-Guard, the Lina and Rubik duo, and they're not finding kills with it. And if you can't kill folks with this kind of an aggressive support duo, then you waste a lot of time moving around, and what could win you the game can often be a big liability.
Right, and these supports moving out has allowed Sam H to get a couple last hits here. He's up to 8 now, level 4, so he's able to catch up a bit.
Yeah, really prioritizing the Jug farm and also making sure the Storm Spirit doesn't get any extra space. Still good CS on him, 27 and 4. But Jug getting a lot now. Net will go right into the Vanguard. Brown Boots into Vanguard. I like this build quite a bit. Makes you very tanky in these early levels. And
Noji's really doing a fantastic job. He's well aware of that they're putting the supports here, and he knows it's really important for him to not die here.
He may try to bait this, though. 3 hero smoke rotation coming out of TNC. They're going to come around the backside. Gyro sets up the rocket on the wing. The bait. Here we go. Telekinesis, a lot of damage. He'll just barely live. Now on the backside, Ling goes in deep to finish him off. He'll be the first one to fall. Now Ben, caught by the Blade Fury. He's going down.
Such smart play from Noji there. He played so carefully knowing that those 2 supports were down bottom. And as soon as his team was like, okay, we'll be ready for you soon, buddy. Just hold on. And as soon as they went to rotate down, he sticks his head out. Yeah. It's a fantastic bait. And
with the Juggernaut mid, that's actually sort of a hard rotation to read. 2 supports missing off the map. They've been moving back and forth between mid and bottom, so sure they call it out, but you don't know exactly what they're doing. And Jug being out of the lane for a minute or so on Radiant, he could very easily just be doing the Shadow Fiend style, farming that medium camp right there, just utilizing the jungle. Maybe there's a stack in the deep camp they're all working on. It was risky to go for that play, but hard to read where the Jug is going to move, as it's so atypical to see him in the mid lane.
One thing that's interesting to see here is he's maxing the Blade Fury, so that's an interesting decision. Usually
and 0 points in stats on top of that.
0 points in stats and no points in crit yet. So that's interesting to see. Juggernaut, one of the more efficient crits in the game.
Yeah. Just going for the early damage here in terms of Blade Fury. We'll do some to Yamate, who will be able to grab the rune. But putting out a lot of hurt. Oh, are we going to continue to skirmish it out? Teehee has his phase boots back at the base, and we'll be able to ferry those out now. Our Gyrocopter using that rocket barrage and clearing out some neutrals. Looks like he had a double stack there to take out. So still finding some nice farm efficiency.
Yeah, and if you're G-Guard, you're kind of, you feel a bit bamboozled here. You pick the Undying, you pick the Bristleback, you pick Storm in a core role. You really pick this lineup to counter the 5-man of TNC, and they kind of just threw a change-up. And
threw a wrench in the mix.
Exactly. Went for something a little bit slower, and because of that, they're still getting a lot of kills off early just by doing things that they aren't really expecting. So,
and even though Timbersaw isn't farming much, he has now been able to pick up 15 CS as G-Guard have rotated around, but he's getting good experience, almost level 5, and the fact that they haven't killed him yet, I think, is a big victory. He's happy just to be quiet as the offlaner, and if they're not picking him off, then he's doing a good job. I'll be curious when Net will start moving around. We're only 9 minutes in, but 4-0. It's a little bit rocky here. Yamate trying to go for some neutrals, and we'll kill that Satyr Tormentor.
Yeah, not the best game for Yamate here. 53 last hits, 1 death. Level 8, not too bad. He does finish up his power treads. He's got a soul ring, so he's going to be able to contribute at least.
Yeah, they put a fair bit of pressure on him. Both teams with some ward coverage on the top rune there. As we check back in on the top lane, Chakram comes out for the Timbersaw, closing into his arcane boots. That could be a time we start to see him moving around. Normally I'd see a Bristleback farming this much and be a little bit nervous for the opposition, but given that they have the Timbersaw, I feel like that's just such a great hero to deal with a core Bristleback. The Whirling Death, just giving you that -15 stats, makes him a lot more handleable. Mid lane, Teehee in a little bit deep. A big rotation from G-Guard. They might be able to bring him down. The healing ward keeping him alive for now. Doesn't have the mana, but now pops the stick charges and may be able to make it back. He does have an Omni Slash here. Arcane Boots making all the difference in the world. Zombies, not going to be able to do enough. A close call, but Teehee lives, and the healing ward is one to thank for that. Now 3 points in that bad boy.
Keeps getting worse for G-Guard, not being able to catch a break there. They really wanted to be able to kill the Juggernaut, but not quite.
Here we go, Omni Slash, easy peasy.
Yeah.
No time to mess around.
And Sam H is even getting to the point where he can kind of bully around. Well, now that he's got his arcane boots, he can just run up, throw a quick Whirling Death, and
use it to last hit.
Yeah,
very classic Timbersaw build here, just pulling up the chain to give you all that mobility and utilizing the first point Whirling Death so that you can last hit, get that stat reduction, and go from there.
And this will be our first tower of the game in mid lane. TNC will take it down without much thought.
Earthshaker finds the last hit as well. He should have some pretty decent farm to his name. Yep, gets the soul ring nice and early.
I've noticed that from TNC is they like to give their supports last hits on towers and even last hits on kills early because they realize how important it is to get their supports levels and gold. So Early on, I think that's the right decision. I saw one game where it was the other Abaddon Bloodseeker game where Bloodseeker was going for first blood, and the Abaddon just uses miscoil and kind of kill steals it. But that was actually, I think, what they needed there.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a preference thing. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do it. I've talked to quite a few different teams. Era is one that comes to mind. I know the old Fnatic was really big on letting supports early on get those kind of kills, tower kills wherever possible, especially on heroes like Earthshaker where you have a core item you're grinding for. And the logic was, well, your core is always going to get a lot of farm. That's his job. Right. The supports, it's a little bit more few and far between. That extra bit of gold, that means the difference between boots and extra set of wards. That's what can win you the game. And your carry is always going to be able to recover. Other teams will completely disagree and say your carry should get everything. The sooner I can get the BKB, the sooner we can fight and start to take over. So it depends on your playstyle and kind of what heroes you're favoring.
So Yamate doing a good job there, ball lightning before the missile hits, but Teehee's going to come in. Does he have
no Omni?
Nope.
Tombstone straight away, they'll start to focus it. Call down. Will connect on Ben. The first one. Second as well. Now Ben in a lot of trouble. They get the Tombstone to boot, and this is an easy pick on the Undying. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Sam in a lot of trouble. Will have a Timber Chain. Hops across, but can't get the rotation off to finish off Ling. A Whirling Death into Chakram would have been a kill. 1-for-1 across the map. Both off-laners getting picked. Not too surprising, but G-Guard will get the advantage in terms of net worth, as that is their first kill of the game.
Yeah, but it looks like TNC is going to be the team most able to translate this into a tower kill, though. Glyphs for TNC have it available.
Yep, they have it.
Both teams have it available. So.
Dire will go ahead and use theirs, but no defensively mounted on this tower.
Maybe even going to be able to kill it quick enough that if they wanted to defend it, G-Guard even backs up, they're not going to be able to push their top. So
Gyro gets the last hit. I think they wanted to give it to the Earthshaker again, though. He used his totem and went in to get it, but the Gyro sniped at that time.
Oops.
Yeah, it's hard to say what's intentional and what's accidental and those kind of things, but could also just be a little bit of that internal dialogue of the Earthshaker going for it. No, this is me, and then Gyro shuts it down.
Maybe it's like, oh man, it's just one of those survival of the fittest things, man. That's why you run 2 cores in 1 lane, right?
Yeah.
You both fight over last hits because whoever's strongest will end up with the most. So you end up stronger because of it.
Yeah, the competition factor. That's
the Darwin lane, as I like to call it.
I like that. Gyrocopter going for the Drum of Endurance here. The classic gyro build. Phasies into the drums. Use some nice early skirmish ability. Has the Aquila to boot, so very well-rounded. Stats, armor, a little bit of damage, everything you need. Now they'll finally pay some attention to Net here. He's picked up the Ogre Club. Omni Slash onto Net, does some decent damage, brings him low. They've got some follow-up damage. The stun will be off the mark, but the Pulse Nova brings him down. And Teehee will be able to survive through all the Quill damage. Healing Ward comes out. They'll get popped back up. Ben getting low to the Timber Saw. He'll get telekinesed, but he can continue to pursue here. Yep, Timber Chain, Chakram, Winter will fall, and they won't pursue Ben, but a 2-for-0 up top, and Bristleback, that high-value target that's now in the grave.
Yeah, once again, looking so good for TNC. We talked about how they might not be grouping up so early, but they're so ahead, they just can't. They're not really the lineup that's perfect for it. But
that was just a good rotation. They've left this Bristol alone all game, and that's the right time to strike. He's powerful, but not powerful enough. They might just get 2 towers out of this push. G-Guard doesn't seem too well clipped him out of defense. Now, of course, they will have a glyph. It's cooldown from that tower falling, and Healing Ward is on cooldown.
Glyph used very early, so maybe try to get in position to take a support off. But
they'll try to defend this. They might be able to set up on a Net straight away. He doesn't get his back turn, so it takes a fair bit of damage to get things started. Whirling Death will follow him through. Pulse Nova from Lesh doing decent damage on the top side, though. Laguna comes out onto the Gyrocopter there, but he tanks through it. He's doing as much damage as he can to Net. Lina and Rubik have already fallen, but now the Gyro Lesh will go down. Healing Ward comes out just a little bit late, waiting for that cooldown. Moving it into the trees. Ben will pop over. Flesh Golem comes out, brings it down, but now they've lost everything else. Ben falls, and Yamate, low on mana, will be able to limp back to the base. The Tier 2 tower goes down, and again they get the kill on the Tombstone. Still a great fight for TNC.
I talked about how Yamate was in the jungle. He really wanted to finish up this stack in the jungle, and it really took him too long to get involved in the fight. And I think that was really
he did actually get the stack, though, right?
Yeah, I think he killed it off, but I think he put a little too much priority on that stack and not enough priority on making sure his team didn't lose 4 of their other heroes.
Yeah, he's got another stack over here, but it may get stolen by Mr. Sam. He's out of mana now, so perhaps
he would have got caught out if he went for it. So
Radiant have an observer up on the high ground here, so let's see if Yamate tries to go for it. 12-3 at the 16-minute mark. TNC looking strong once again. 7,500 net worth lead this early on.
That's an interesting statistic as well. About how many games is that for the Stormster? Because I've seen him a couple of times, not a crazy amount.
It can't be too many games, probably like 15 or so, something like that. So not a huge sample, but that is a pretty low win rate. Yeah,
pretty rough.
You always have to look at the which teams are playing those heroes, though. If it's a team that hasn't been performing well and that's a comfort hero for them, then it, statistically speaking, makes the hero seem weaker than it is.
Yeah, I think the person I've seen succeed on him the most has been QO. They'll pick that a lot for MVP fans. But I think they actually lost to... I can't remember who it was, but they lost one game to him.
And of course, the opposite is true for those kind of stats as well. One of the classics that comes to mind is the Old Alliance S4 Magnus, like 85% win rate Magnets. It's like, well, that's because he's the only one that plays it.
Okay,
so
yeah, 4 in the TI5.
Yeah, 4 in the TI5. So yeah, pretty small sample size. Still subject to pretty extreme variance there, but. Always have to look at who's actually playing the heroes relative to the team's win rate. But look at this Timbersaw, man. He's made some nice recovery. That 5-man death ball up top, they get 2 towers, take back-to-back good team fights, and now he's just about at the Bloodstone.
Yeah, and he started off so badly, though, so the recovery time has been great for Sam H. And it's so... This just makes a lot of sense for Timbersaw. Maybe not so much in the meta, but from some of the patch changes, really benefited him a lot. The cheaper Arcane Orb, the Soul. He's one of the better heroes to be able to use the Soul Ring. Very tanky, strength-based hero. Loves to build a Soul Ring, and so that new Bloodstone build-up is really good for him.
Yeah, that's a great point. So, Mr. Juggernaut, going for a slightly different build. We've seen a lot of the Mask of Madness into Yasha and then branching out from there, whether it's right into the Manta or something else. And he's opted to skip the Mask of Madness altogether and go right into the Manta style.
This is what G-Guard really needs to do here. Just go for some somewhat crazy smokes, and they're going to pick off the AU. You should fall pretty quickly.
Yeah, well,
Laguna for good measure.
Yep, Ling really wanted that one, and it will secure his Laguna Blade. So that is... he has a Laguna Blade. That'll secure his Eul's Scepter. Flesh Golem used by Ben in the mid lane. He's kind of isolated now.
I don't want to get away from the creeps. I don't want to leave the creeps.
Yeah.
Because I can Omni Slash if I do.
Well, now they don't even need the Omni. The Rocket will be enough to chase him down as Noji gets another one.
That's like Rupture, man. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
Run away, you're going to die. If you stay, you're probably going to die.
Yeah, not much you could have done there if his team wasn't ready to rotate. Tier 2 tower in the mid lane going down to the pressure of TNC. But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, G-Guard doing a little bit of split push. They've got a few heroes in the jungle. They have an awkward position here, and they will just TP back and prepare for a high ground siege, if that is indeed what TNC want to go for. 19-minute Blink Dagger here on this Earthshaker. All the skirmishing has helped him out so much. They will at least poke the high ground. We'll see how this fares. Omni Slash is available. Call down connects on the entire team. Yamate just gets destroyed. This call down doing so much damage here, K-Pop. They're still holding on to the... the Omni Slash has already been used. And... this is looking rough for G-Guard. Tier 3 tower taking some decent damage here. Net getting low. He keeps trying to turn that back, but Ling getting poked out by Sam H. Salve will be used by the Bristleback, and they will get repelled, but half damage on that Tier 3 tower. And they smoke. Is this a fake back here?
It was supposed to be a fake back, but they didn't catch the Timbersaw, so maybe not as fake as they wanted it to be.
That's okay. Still sort of catches them off guard. You see G-Guard. They needed to regen at the base, but not quite ready for the reinitiation. Their glyph is just about to come up, a few seconds away, but that won't stop the barracks from taking a lot of damage. Now it cools down. They use it as soon as they possibly can. Ling, man, that's just one chakram. Takes him down below half health. It is tough. Stolen Chakram comes out from Winter, doing some return damage here. They might be able to get a kill on Noji, but not quite. With a blade onto Sam, it certainly is. Noji's still alive, as well as Sam H. They just don't have the damage to finish him off. They have to kill this damn Healing Warder. There is just no hope for this kind of a team fight. Yamate on the run. He's out of mana. Timber Chain will try to poke him down. And the Rocket, it might make it into the base, but they will let him get free. So TNC still don't claim barracks, but that's a Tier 3 tower dead and one step closer to the base.
Yeah, this is just a situation where, I mean, even if this game keeps going, I think TNC never really, their lineup is never really worse from here on out. So they have a pretty firm grasp on this game.
Yeah, I would say so. Now SNY out on the gyrocopter just continue to itemize effectively for the here and now. Gives him a nice little bump, helps him tank up, a little more movement speed. It does feel like this healing ward has done a lot of work this game, though. There's no doubt about that one.
Kind of a kind of forgotten 5-manning hero with that healing ward.
Omni Slash coming up here in just a couple of seconds. Remember, the glyph will be on cooldown for about 4 minutes, so G-Guard will not have that as a buffer. Tombstone comes down, and with that, TNC will be happy to retreat, reset things, and maybe try to reinitiate with that on cooldown.
Now, he's going to have to be careful with his mana management. He does have a Soul Ring.
He also has his Orchid.
Smart. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, mix it out. Yeah, I went for the Orchid this game, but so far it hasn't really been able to find any pickoffs. TNC's been all grouped up. Who are you going to pick off?
Yeah, it's more of a counter initiation Orchid than it is a find to kill Orchid.
Yep, that's a fair point. 9 Bloodstone charges on the Timber Saw. Jug, 2k gold. What's the Healing Ward down far in the back, making it difficult for G-Guard to really do much to it. Blade Fury in, Net takes the stun from the Rocket. They'll go for the sure damage on the range barracks.
Very good, careful micromanagement of this Healing Ward as well.
Yeah.
Make sure it's always just out of reach of G-Guard.
And here we go, another stun on the Net. Yamate will hop in, drops the Orchid onto 7. That should be enough for the kill. It's going to be a close call. The Soul Burn's there to finish it off. BKB used by Net. I believe that's the 10-second charge as he ventures out of the base. Noji gets stunned up, gets a call down set up, but they've got a lot of damage. He will fall, but not before Net goes down as well. Omni Slash from the Jug has enough damage to finish him off. Flesh Golem ends from Ben, and now they go back for the barracks. They really want these ranged barracks, but zombies coming out of plenty from that Tombstone that stays standing. Pretty good fight from G-Guard there. They make the hold.
It was a good hold. That was really the only. It was a good job for Storm there, picking off the Earthshaker. I think that was the right choice to go for. That's really what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to ball into these back lines and get the pickoffs on the supports.
Yeah. And of all the supports as well, the Earthshaker, the perfect target there. He has the Blink Dagger, don't forget, so if you can jump on him, imagine how much different that fight would have been if there was an Echo Slam in the middle of the fray.
And the bad thing about this 5-man lineup for TNC is you can see just their supports are relatively underleveled relative to some of their other heroes. Well, I mean, their whole team is relatively underleveled. 7 only at level 8, only 1 point in the Echo Slam. Lesh is level 10, which is a lot better, but if this was a more spread out team, they'd probably have a lot more levels on their supports, but I think they'll take the trade. Yeah,
so
see, 10k difference in net worth, only a 2k difference in experience. So.
Yep. Ooh, now mech on both sides of the coin. One on the Undying as well as one on the Timber Saw. So new addition there. They'll come out at just about the exact same timing, so still even on that front. TNC will just go bottom. Still 1 outer tower remaining. This tier 2, and I think soon to be turned to rubble.
I think they're going to smoke here, and that's really their only choice.
Yeah.
Going to hopefully loop behind them and get a good fight behind this tower.
See if they can find the initiation. With the Orchid on Storm, maybe they can jump on the Jug. He doesn't have an Omni Slash, but it should be coming up pretty soon here.
Are they going to maybe... I think sneaking a Roche is a bad idea with them as close. And
Feels
they definitely don't have
really risky. Oh my.
I think they just want to check it out. And they might.
Radiant Courier will fly over. He uses the Blade Fury so we can scout this out. The rest of the team will start to get in position. Call down, Echo Slam comes in from 7, sets it up, Lita and Storm Spirit die in a matter of seconds. Ben gets dropped, Omni Slash nets BKB, but that won't stop you from the physical damage. Buyback now from Yamate, Rubik tries to TP home, he'll get cut off. It's a 4-0 thus far, and they're about to bring down Net. The mech gets used, 7 may still stay alive, turns for the Fissure to finish him off. It's a full 5-man wipe. Storm's bought back, but what's he gonna do? What a net worth exchange. TNC coming out big once more.
Yeah, the rich just get richer here, Andrew. They're gonna go for this. They're gonna go for this rush kill, and then after that, I think they're just gonna push up into the base.
And now Desolator picked up by the Jug. Great item here. Makes sieging the base that much easier. And these quote-unquote tanky heroes like Bristleback not going to be so tanky anymore. It looks like we've got a replay of that fight coming up here. And
He able to get his Blade Fury off. That was a really important part, and then just the Earthshaker.
Yeah, this is coming up right here. Sets up the call down. So nicely done. There's just nothing Yamate or Ling could do. And then after that, it all just falls apart. The Omni Slash also used to finish off the Undying, then jumps right to the Bristleback, maximizing the spread of damage and even just catching Winter as he TPs out. It was a close call. He almost lived, but Flesh is there with the Lightning. It's just a rough fight from the Dire. Yamate maybe pulling the trigger on that buyback just a little too early.
And TNC looks like they're playing it a little bit slow, but they're going to be grouping up to take these racks down. I think that's the right decision.
And who grabbed the Aegis of the Immortal as that fell? It did go to the Jug. Okay, no big surprise, but
this is an easy high ground siege now.
Yep, I really like the Desolator pickup here. Again, TNC just seem to be itemizing so well around what their objective is. And even this lineup that isn't maybe built to be as 5-manny as what we saw in Game 1, they're still itemizing that way to get an edge at this stage of the game and just continue to pressure this Dire side.
They're able to, through their skill builds, their itemizations, and just how well they won their lanes in the early game.
Here we go, right up to the high ground. They go for the range barracks first. They'll finish it off straight away. Teehee in the front lines takes Laguna, sets up the call down. Mech almost keeps it alive, but that'll be the end of the Aegis of the Immortal. Ben goes down first after the Aegis. And BKB on net, not going to keep him alive. The Desolator making him take so much more damage there. Easy kill for the Jug. They'll finish off the Storm Spirit, and this has got to be close to GG territory. All three heroes dead, lacking buybacks, and that'll be a mid lane of barracks down. G-Guard taking some time to think about it, but I think there's no hope of saving this bottom lane.
Really not. They'll just wail away on this tower. Another 15k lead at the 25-minute mark. More of the same from the last game from TNC. Oh, this game was a bit. Last game was a bit more even coming into this point before TNC really hit their power curve. This was just TNC just owning from minute 1.
Yeah, TNC still holding into this deathball strategy, but oh my, Echo Slam on 2, and just adding insult to injury here at this point.
Yeah, they just did it in a way that kind of worked against the Undying and the Storm.
Yeah, exactly. They still like to do this 5-man group up and team fight very early on, but showing that there's some versatility to it. It's not this one-dimensional, we need these 5 heroes to make it work. They have a couple of different ways to try and execute it and really make it quite scary. Very impressive series, and that puts TNC in a fabulous position in Group A. They are looking like they might be #1.
Yeah, they're doing it the way they need to do it, which is taking 2-0 series. Like losing a series 0-2 is honestly not the worst thing. It's much worse to think you can get a chance to winning and then splitting instead. So after having 2 2-0 showings, they'll be at 6 points, I believe.